Big ideas, real talk. I'm Sara Press, and this is Nothing Small About Business. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I go into each week just wanting to provide value for the listeners. So I try to find really interesting people with good stories to tell, good stories to share, where you can extract some value out of it. I think what's really important is getting something out of each episode that you can apply to your own life or your business. And today's episode, you guys, is a sweet one. We've got the founder of Yo's Froyo Bites. He sent me a couple boxes of these and I've become quickly obsessed with them. They're unlike any other little sweet, crunchy snack I've ever had. And he has been at it, you guys, building this company for over 10 years. And he's just now starting to sell the product. 10 years of labor and love put into this package right here. And he's on the podcast today sharing everything. We go into what it takes to actually build a CPG brand, to finding mentors, to trying to get people to help you in this industry that then don't want to help you. And I think it's just a really great episode. He's a very cool guy. And I'm just excited for you guys to hear it. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Haskell Noah of Yo's Froyo Bites. Enjoy. All right, Haskell Noah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so before we start, I need you to know that I am wildly obsessed with your product, and I had to hide it from my kids because they were eating them so fast. I had to hide a couple packages just for myself.
It's an honor. I get, the kids like it. I like that. It was designed for everyone, to be honest with you. You look for a certain market, but the market is just people looking for a good time. People looking to have a good in it with snacking.
Right, they're great. So before we jump into all the things that you're currently doing, your company officially selling your product this year, which is so exciting. But
Yeah.
what's insane, and I really can't wait to hear this story because I've never heard it, I'll be hearing it for the first time now, is you've been at this for over 10 years. Talk to me through what this process has been like and how you started compared to where you're at now, where the website's launched and products are available for sale.
You know, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, it just started with, I like frozen yogurt. I like that tart frozen yogurt. It wasn't really a business as such. And one night I was home watching TV and there was a commercial for a company called Harvest Right. They're in Utah. They make freeze dryers for the home. People that have fruit and vegetables in their garden and they want to keep it throughout the rest of the year. Those sort of people. At the time there was no candy craze. People freeze drying gummies and lemon heads and
Yeah.
milk buds and all those things. That really wasn't going on at the time. I started with yogurt. I had to learn what the freeze dryer was, how it worked, the parameters, what you do with it. I mean, if you think about it, pretty simple. Just freezing and drying, and actually does both at the same time. So when you're doing
Okay.
and drying, I mean, drying meaning heat. You're applying cold and heat at the same time. Imagine a cold shower from one end and a hot from another end. Your body will react very differently. So the Froyos, the heat is not making the liquid melt in the freeze drying process because the cold is there to stop it from melting. So instead of melt, something called sublimation. These vapors start coming out. The liquid inside the Froyo, liquid inside anything that you put in the freeze dryer, right, starts coming out over time with something I haven't mentioned yet, a vacuum. That's the third component. Cold, heat, vacuum. The vacuum will start sucking those vapors as they're coming out the food. They'll suck it away from the food. And after approximately a day, all the water's out. You could put a slice of pizza in there and get a very stone hard piece of pizza.
So you first started just by being like curious about the process of freeze drying. So you're like, oh, I like yogurt. Let's try yogurt in the freeze dryer.
That's exactly right. And I realized over time that with yogurt, well, you're left with like a powder almost. It's nothing that you can do much with. But that's the summary of 3 years worth of research to tell you that. For the first 5, 6 years, 7 years, I was yielding a clumpy product. And
Oh,
part of that was because with the 10 years of me doing what I was doing, I was working on a shape, a mold, a design to make it exclusive, you know what I mean? Make it hard for people to copy sort of thing. And when I was working with that design, you realize that shape has a lot to do with freeze drying as well. The end result. Like, imagine a cookie, a cookie that you dip into a cup of tea. I'm from England. We have English tea with milk and sugar.
Uh-huh.
And dip a nice ginger snap cookie. It'll melt as soon as you dip it in there. You put it in your mouth, nice and soft, right? But if that cookie were 3 times thicker, then it's not. I don't even know. We'll have to do it and
Like
see
it's
it.
not absorbing as much probably that quickly, right?
Yeah, it's not absorbing that much that quickly. So the design that we were working on, which we were all doing in the when I say we all, my son, my wife, my daughter was giving her input. At the time, we lived in our house in Queens, New York. So upstairs where we lived, downstairs, um, basement converted into like a nice clean white IKEA food lab. That's what I would call
Okay. And before this though, were you in the food space at all? Or where did you
it. But
like
yeah,
get any of these ideas of like the scientific aspect of manipulating the food?
I'll give you the biological aspect of it is that I was obese for up until I was 35 years old. I was over 330 pounds. I love food, 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 food. And I was always like that since I was a child. So I just got bigger and bigger and bigger as time went by. Until my mid 30s, I said, I didn't feel well, and I was workaholic as well. That didn't help. But I said, I'm going to drop dead unless I do something with myself. So that's when I started to pay a lot more. It was just one day I said, I'm going to start doing it. And I did it. I made some other changes as well. And I started focusing on my body. You start focusing
Wow.
these and, I'm never, like some people, they don't never look up at the sky and enjoy it. And they don't look at the clouds and what beautiful art that God paints in the sky for us on a day-to-day basis, everything different. So when you look and and you inquire about your body and how it works, it's such a beautiful thing. You got to take care of it, right?
Mhm.
Time I always remember my dad telling me, may his soul rest in peace. He said, Haskell, you can eat anything you want, but in moderation. So part of Yo's is that it's like an indulgent snack on the go froyo with real fruit. And it's in moderation. It's portion control. But it's not portion control where at the end it leaves you needing or wanting more. It's portion control, whereas it's designed in as part of the 10 years as well. It's designed in such a way where you're eating right. You've got about 18 grams in there of froyo, a little bit more maybe. Pouching machine puts on a little bit more. That's about 18 bites. Hey, imagine having 18 Starburst. You know what everyone knows what Starburst is. You open
Mhm.
and you're chewing on it, it bursts all over your mouth, that flavor. And that's
Explosion, yeah.
explosion, yeah. And that's what this is. It's an explosion. So you have how many explosions can you have in your mouth? You got 18 pieces, 18 explosions. You're like, oh, I'm done. Okay, I'm good. And 70 calories later, who feels bad about 70 calories?
Right, you're not disappointed afterwards. Wow, so your rye really stemmed from personal experience.
Yes,
That's
yes.
really cool. I love that.
Yeah. But the combination of my dad saying, eat whatever you want, otherwise, if he didn't tell me that, I think when I started losing weight, I would just not, I still ate whatever I wanted, but in moderation. I never,
Mhm.
my body when it was full, I would just keep on eating and eating. You know what I mean? Social gatherings, everyone's eating, you keep eating and eating.
Right.
Another plate.
Yeah.
That's how you become obese and you're not paying attention to your body. And it's not about the looks. At the time, I was like, yeah, I don't like the way I look, but I wasn't thinking about the long term effect of being obese, the wear and tear on the body itself.
Mhm.
Yes.
They say like the universe whispers until it screams. And that's like one of those where you don't want to wait until it's all the way on the other end where the universe is screaming at you to make a change.
Yeah.
So speaking of testing this, okay, so you go through years developing the product. Now you finally get to a stage where you have a product that can sustain these freezing things, right?
More than that is when you go through years developing the product, but simultaneously at the same time going to all the relevant food shows. There's plenty of them out there, right? You've got to go. I went to the food shows, different food shows for different things. Food manufacturing machine sort of trade show. Then you've got food ingredient suppliers trade show. You've got retail ready packaged food, like a show called the Fancy Food Show, the Summer Fancy Food, the Winter Fancy Food. These are all food related, but they all cater to a different aspect of the food industry. So that was part of the learning as well. And while you're learning the industry, you're meeting people, you see them over and over again at shows. At the shows, you get something very, very unique. People very much underestimate, which is trade show magazines. Where do you get trade magazines from? A trade show. That's where you go. And you wouldn't know. You don't see them anywhere else. Who's seen the magazines nowadays? But those
Right.
have a wealth of information. They're like CEOs writing articles about their company and telling you all great stuff and get to see the trends that are happening. Like, this is called a stand-up pouch. There was a time before stand-up pouch was popular that things were pouched in different. My cousin Michael, he has a pet food store in Williamsburg, right? And I remember I saw the change. It's a small, beautiful small store, and it went from jars, right, to over a course of about a year. You go into a pet store now and you see everything is in stand-up, flexible top. Stand up, like this, right?
Is that
Flexible.
because of marketing purposes, so you can see the branding, or what's the reason behind that?
Could be. It could be. Yeah. And it's definitely cheaper as well. A pouch versus a glass
A
bottle.
jar, right?
Yeah.
Heavier shipping costs, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I think it's a good point you just made. It's probably the branding. A lot of surface space to put your thing on there.
Right.
Uh, with the bottle like this, you know what I mean? It's just different.
Right, you get less real estate on there.
That's real estate. So as we were also working on the molds over that period, the ingredients, the trade shows, the networking, the molds, the I said, we're going to have to get an audience one way or the other. And I like to be direct. And, I was just getting into Instagram at the time. So we started at the same time of doing everything else. We started launching Instagram, pre-launch brand building, getting people. No one had anything to buy. So people are just interested in the stories. How do
Right, I
people.
think what's cool is, like, you've done a really good job of, like, sharing the journey along the way, and I love that you share, like, a lot of the failures, and you're like there was one specific one that stands out where something happened to the machine, and it was, like, there was, like, the powder was coming loose on it, and you talk about the intricacies of figuring out where the problem is and stopping it, and I imagine as building a product over the last 10 years, I can only imagine everything that you've learned and had to tweak, along the way this entire time. And when you mentioned you go to trade shows, I would expect like a lot of relationship building probably happens there and you can lean on these people then for like, can you tell me how you did it? Tips and tricks. Like, have you found that people, when you go to these trade shows, building those relationships, that they're very helpful and open to sharing their knowledge?
Maybe 3% of the people in the 10 or 12 years that I've come into contact with have been helpful. And those are the 3% of people that I have in my phone book right now. People don't really want to. There's zones. People are generally zoned into what their mission is for the day or that moment. You know what I mean? So people are not zoned to help you. That's, you
Right.
ever
And
heard.
maybe in that environment too, they're so focused on their business at that time.
Yeah, yeah. So the people that do help you, you know why they're helping you? Not because it is their business nature, it's because it's their personal nature. And they just like you and they want to see you grow. And over time, it takes time to come across people like that. And those are like become our modern day business partners, like our dairy processing partner, as an example. They're amazing people. They've been around for 100, the business itself has been around for 120 years. So they're really good at what they do, and we speak about recipes and how we can tweak things, and yeah, so it's good. So relationships are really important, um, but you can't get caught up on it too much because other people are in their own world, and you just have to work the relationship slowly over time, and that's
Right, and
how.
not always take. It's gotta be some give in there as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's give and take, and yeah, I'm always reaching out to people that I haven't spoken to for a while just to thank them for helping me. Um, a lot of people just, as I said, they're not interested. There was one guy in New York. I asked him. He makes fruit leather snacks, and somehow I got in touch with him. I don't remember how. Like 7, 8 years ago. And I said, listen, I really love your product. I said, in my local supermarket, they have your product here, and I'm going to put my product in my local supermarket. I was living in Queens, New York at the time. I said, would you mind mentoring me and just giving me, like, we had spoken for maybe a couple of hours before that. So would you mind
Mhm.
mentoring me and just giving me maybe half an hour of your time a month? He goes, no. I'm like, oh, what? He goes, I don't want to. So, there are people that want to help, like people. If
That's
it
so crazy. I mean, I guess some people have to have really strong boundaries because if you're getting asked by a lot of people, but at the same
yeah,
time, I find like one of the best things you can do in life is provide value to other people and help, take the lessons you've learned and pass those along. And like that's what we're all here for, right? You would hope that,
very well said. Yeah, that's
you
exactly right.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so one question I have before we move on to some of the intricacies of what you're doing. 10 years is a long time to develop a product. And I'm wondering what has kept you motivated to keep going when it's been tough times? Have you ever felt like you were ready to quit? Or what is that driving force behind keeping you going to where you are today?
I think it comes down to this. Hold on. Okay, just for a moment, I'm gonna put my hat on. All right.
That's a cool hat.
What's the name of the company? It's Yo's, right?
Yo's. Yep.
So let me explain to you what this is over here. Yo's is actually Yosef's, my son's name, Yosef. So it's actually Yosef's Froyo Bites. And that heart is a father and son heart over there. It's my heart from my love for my son. So when you bring children into the world, you're responsible for your children. And that's even when they grow up and they become adults. Until I die, I'm responsible for my kids.
They're always
So
our babies.
yeah, yeah, I've got a 25-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I love them both dearly. They're amazing. But again, you bring a kid into this world, they're your responsibility. So this is like a legacy, something that I want to keep around and hand off to my son when he's ready. I mean, he works as much as more than I do. Even he's doing a lot of the labor work, the mold filling and the pouching machine and putting things in the freeze dryer. When it's finished in the freeze dryer, you think it's just easy. You take the freeze dryer done, you take it out, but doesn't the pieces of froyo they stick to each other. So now you've got like I don't know trays and trays and trays and trays of froyo, and you got to get and they're big baking size trays, and you have to get to each one by one. It could take a whole day to break them apart. And then once in the bag, sometimes people still get two that are stuck together, and they like,
It's
"I got two. That's good."
a bonus.
But that's what keeps me. What's the thing that keeps me going is I love the interaction on a. This is like a personal reason why I really really like going is because I love the interaction with people. I love helping people. There's this um there's this lady. She's in Florida, and she said, Haskell, I'm going for chemotherapy next week. Can I order it? Is it available yet? And I'm like, I'm not gonna sell you anything, but just give me your address. I'm gonna send it to you. She said, no, I'm not gonna let you do that. I just want. Long story short, she's now like avid fan. We sent Froyos to the whole ward over there, made people.
Oh.
That's that's the connection. That's the wonderful thing. The
Mhm.
text message the other day saying, I just want to let you know that the lady next to me, she tried your Froyo before she passed away this morning, and it really made her smile because she couldn't eat anything because of the chemotherapy doesn't give really much of an appetite. So it's bringing joy to people. That's what it is.
That's the why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of the
Oh,
work.
that's beautiful.
You,
And what is
you and there's many other reasons why actually, but this would be a 2-hour chat otherwise. But
right. What is it like? How cool is that to be able to work with your son on this?
love it. Oh man, if it that's another reason because if we weren't working together, put the love aside and the father son part, but if we weren't working together, I wasn't able to speak to him every day. That's the connection. Think about your connection with your parents. What keeps you connected? You may be a good daughter, so I'm a good daughter, and reach out to them once a day. When guys are a little less like that, we don't really reach out
Right.
to
It's
our
more
parents.
natural, it seems like for women, but yeah.
Yeah, so it gives me a reason to see my son and to see his entirety, to see how he works, how he develops, how his mind thinks. I teach him how to do certain things, he does them, and then he excels and does like 10 times better than I even do with them. So it's lovely to see. It's
And
like,
if this was about 10 years ago, so he was probably what, 15 when this started. That's a huge
yes,
transition piece with him. I'm sure you've seen a huge amount of growth, and I would imagine he really appreciates being able to have this opportunity to do this with you as well. It's got to be pretty cool.
it's frustrating for him because we are still at the growth stage. Growth stage means we need revenue, and so for me to pay him what he needs is a 25-year-old man in Los Angeles, California, which is very
Yeah.
expensive to live. He needs to make good money. He needs to make. When I say good money, just to scrape it in Los Angeles, just to scrape the barrel. So that's not the stage we're at right now. That's why I keep on pushing and pushing and pushing. So I want him to. He loves it, but he also
Right.
needs.
Enjoy the fruit of all that labor, right? But that's coming. So now this is a great transition area. So now you've officially launched. People can buy your product
Yes.
and talk me through what that launch process is and how you plan to market the product.
For me, we've got direct to consumer, you've got the government, you've got um, distributors, and you've got retailers. So right now we're at direct to consumer stage. To get to any of the other stages, you need volume, right? So this is the thing. Depending on the volume that can be created will depend on the market that it can go into. So if we could do an extra, let's say I'll throw an arbitrary number out of 1,000 pouches a month. Well, maybe I can work with a couple of vending machine distributors in Southern California. Maybe split up that 1,000 between maybe four distributors, not distributors, vending machine actual locations, but they are distributors that distribute to vending machine companies. It's a whole distribution network. The bottleneck right now for us is the producing, right? We're producing commercially, but we need to produce more. And the way we produce more is similar to the way I described the different freezing type of freezing situation.
Mm-hmm.
This comes into this. Right now, I would say we're commercially producing with commercial machines and a commercial application. But we need industrial to make it exponential. If we're doing, let's say, 5,000 pouches a month, let's say, out of our current launch and learn facility, maybe we could push it to 10,000, but we definitely can't do like 10,000 a day or 50,000 a day. That
Mm-hmm.
all industrial machines. That's like industrial scale. You realize you get machines, you pay a lot of money, you buy domestic, even in America. The amount of machines that I bought from North America that have been warranted. That's the good thing is that the North American companies will warranty over the phone service.
Mm-hmm.
They to. They have to. They have reputation. Chinese have to hope you get a good person that you can communicate with, but their machines are made very well. That's
Mm-hmm.
the truth. They make crap as well. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want crap machines and no service. Then you like may as well just throw the machine away. So you want good quality machines, good service, and yeah.
Yeah. Looking back over the last couple years, is there anything like you would tell listeners, like if they were to start a product today, like what are some things that you would do differently aside from maybe looking at different machine options? Is there anything that looking back, you're like, oh my God, I wish I wouldn't have, I wish I would have been able to skip this phase? Or is there something you would change in that regard?
No, I don't think I would have done anything differently, to be honest with you. I don't think I could have done anything differently because I've done everything that could have been done up until now. In other words, I've networked. I know personally. I know all the top freeze drying companies in America. The biggest of the biggest. They're huge, and that's the only thing I
Well,
wish I.
they always say like the best way is through it, right? Like you become the person you are today because of everything that you've gone through prior. So it's
Yeah,
probably similar with this. It's like you wouldn't have the knowledge you have today had you not gone through the trials and tribulations of the last 10 years.
finding a co-manufacturer is the really, really, really important because if you don't, because they already have the facility set up, they have insurance, they have people, they have FDA compliant facility, they have floor drains, they have wash down hoses, they have everything, wash down walls and ceilings, they have proper ventilation, proper climate control, proper pest control, in some cases, if necessary, humidity controls, not just temperature control, but humidity control. For us, we need all those things. Most companies need a lot of those things, but we need like humidity control is quite important to us. So that's why we have these two rooms in downtown LA, just outside of downtown LA. And we have made it into like these micro rooms of exactly what we need. So when we scale up, we can figure out how to scale up.
What I find is so wild about when you're starting a product, it's like if you first have this idea of like, yeah, let's freeze dry yogurt, it'll be great. Then it's like that idea turns into having to source all the materials that are going into that product. Then it's the equipment to make it. Then it's going through compliance. Then it's sourcing packaging, designing packaging,
And
testing, trial and error, marketing. Like there's so much that has to go into it in order to have like idea
yeah,
to selling to the consumers. Like
yeah,
I just
yeah.
it's
And I'm
awesome and it's wild to think about at the same time. Right. So looking at this packaging, like I said, I'm obsessed. My kids were obsessed. And this seems like something that could easily go like TikTok viral. These seem like these could absolutely be like the next very super trendy snacks. We just went through it in our household with like Drizzleicious. Those
well,
became like wild in our household. And I feel
but
like this very
why?
much, why is
What
that?
can you explain to me why? Because that's been out. I mean, it's been out for years that product, and it's good. But why now is something happening?
Why now? I don't know if it's just because they targeted teenagers And those are the ones that can drive a lot of sales. So my daughters are the ones that introduced it to me, and then they got me addicted to it. And so I feel like
Good point.
that's the power of like Instagram and TikTok. And unfortunately, targeting kids, like they're the ones that are like, Mom, we have to go to Target and get Drizzleicious. I'm like, what the heck is that? And like your product, this is absolutely something my daughter Ella would be like, oh my God, Mom, we need to order more Yos. Like I literally have the rest of the box hidden in my office because they will go through these in like 2 seconds and I want to savor them. So I'm curious, like, have you put together like your marketing plan for the year? It's hard to be an entrepreneur that does literally everything. So,
I'll tell you what the plan is. The plan is to we're currently manufacturing out of just outside of downtown LA, out of our facility. Let's say we're capped because of size and machinery to 5 to 10,000 pouches a month. The next, so we're stuck with that. So with 5 to 10,000 pouches a month, the market is really direct to consumer.
mhm.
Uh, the, for lack of a better word, the leftover will go to select retailers. Those select retailers, and we're talking about like because you asked for this year, so this is the way it's playing out this year.
Right. Yeah. There's always phases. So the
Yeah,
phase we're in. Yep.
right. So those retailers are a lot of frozen yogurt shops that have frozen yogurt chains. Um, and I wanted it to like take this display over here as an example, right?
Mhm.
Stand up point of purchase display. So I'm working on this. It hasn't been branded yet. We're gonna brand it, put things like, I don't know, addictively crunchy or only 70 calories a serving or made with real fruit, things like that. But so we're designing this now to go into those frozen yogurt shops. People don't normally go into a frozen yogurt shop looking to buy any type of auxiliary product. They're going in to buy frozen
They're
yogurt,
getting their cup. Yeah.
and that's it. Maybe water, they buy water. So, I had to spend a little time at some frozen yogurt shops and figure out the psyche of the person. And I figured out my own psyche. I'm like, I'm in here now, but I'm not really looking for a product to buy. So it has to be something that's self-explanatory because I don't expect the people in the store to sell it. The product needs to sell itself. The packaging needs to
Your
sell it,
packaging is great.
and then the display needs to sell itself. And the display needs to say it's a bigger opportunity to say what's in these pouches. So that's what we're doing now.
Hey, and I think what's really cool that some brands are doing now, and I can absolutely see this with yours and like all the different colors that you have. Like again, I'm going back to like my teenagers that are obsessed with these, is like there's so many opportunities to find a similar market. I hear that brands do. So like just off the top of my head, like this flavor could match the like lip gloss that goes with it. And you can do like partner events and in-person events for a fitness place because these are a healthier snack, because they're portioned out, they're only 70 calories.
Yeah.
Like you can find similar consumers that are in a different space and then collaborate with companies like that. I always think are like genius ideas there.
There's a lot of experimenting to do. Like, as an example, I wanted to go to an apricot farm. So I found one in Moore Park, California, about an hour away from here, a little less. And they do corporate events. Corporations will sign up and take their people there. They sit down. They have a nice chef makes a meal outdoor under an apricot tree, the whole yard of them. And at the end, they have like a gift shop if you want to buy stuff. So you have to think outside the box. Like apricot is a flavor that you have to put it in someone's face where they know what an apricot is. So
Like I said, I don't think I've ever had an apricot before, and this is one of my favorite flavors. I couldn't even tell you what an apricot looks like if I went to the store, which is
no,
kind of embarrassing. But I will say, when I tried this package, it's one of my favorites. The original tart, I think that might be my absolute favorite. They're all great, but yeah, it's funny that probably has some more education than like the strawberry or the raspberry.
yeah, it does. It does require that. So, and also there are market fits. Like, as an example, if you're from Turkey, apricots are big in Turkey. So we do have Turkish fans following us, and they're like, "Oh, I love it. Apricot is my favorite flavor. I love it." So and I grew up on apricot as well, so I like the taste of it. But the thing about when you eat yellow Froyo bites is it's not just about the flavor. It's also about the way that you eat it. People eat it differently. For me, I could put it in my mouth, break it, Not all the ingredients just wrap around the taste buds. You know,
Mhm. Yeah, the crunch factor is so good too. 'Cause it's, like, sweet, but it gives you the crunch, which a lot of not all sweets have that.
it took a long time to get that.
How many of these have you eaten in the last 10 years?
Every day, every single day. Um, yeah, all the flavors. I love them all. I love them all. The blueberry, they come from a Canadian farm in Canada, nestled between these two mountains. The way the sun ricochets off the mountain onto the soil makes it fertile. And then you got these blueberries that are growing in this beautiful environment. They're delicious. They're really full of
Mhm.
berries. Everything has its own unique reason why I chose it to go into the formula. So, you
Yeah. Well, you can tell you're very passionate about the product, and I love your story that you were obese and then you found something that fit into your lifestyle,
yeah.
and you're now making this a company that is available to everybody. I think is just awesome. So, if we're running out of time, is there anything else that you would like to share
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
listeners today?
You just perseverance, you get knocked down. You know how many times I've got knocked down, Sarah? The amount of time I've lost count. Can't tell you, one thing after another. And I think it's a frame of mind. You just got to say, okay, I've learned. Now I'm wiser and I've learned. Maybe I should have known. How would I have known? Who cares? It happened. So you just got to move on and learn from the experience and take criticism. There are some people that love people's opinions. There are some people that hate people's opinions. I have to be one of those people that love to hear people's opinions. Um, Everyone's got their own reference, their own frame of mind. And very often when I hear one person give their opinion, it's probably the same as at least 5 or 10 other people, or 5 or 10 other percent of the people that are watching. Um, so I love to hear, and because that's how I learn. That's how I'm constantly learning right now, by engaging with our audience who give their feedback. So it's nice to hear from people. Sometimes you just put it up there, you get the answer straight away from the audience.
Right, put it out there and let people respond. I think what you said, it makes so much sense, and it reminds me of that quote that's like, "It's not how many times you've been knocked down, it's how many times you got back up."
Yeah.
And when you're an entrepreneur, my God, is that not the truth?
Yeah. And enjoy it. You know what? I'm 52 years old. I remember in the 70s and 80s, life was so boring. No one had cell phone, no one had a computer. You just Life was bleak, whatever. But when nowadays you've got technology at your fingertips, you've got so much.
So much opportunity.
The wisdom, the learning, being enlightened, there's so much going on and to take advantage of, that no one should ever be bored. There's so much, and it's free knowledge. Knowledge is free. You just have to have the
Free, yes.
to go and learn and be
Yeah,
kept.
there's so much out there and so many good people to learn from, and, I would highly recommend everyone go follow you. So can you let everybody know, like, if they wanna go try your Froyo Bites or they wanna follow your journey, where's the best place that they should go?
I would prefer you not to buy the product until you understand some part of the journey, because the journey is really important. So when you're eating it, you're like, I really can appreciate this, knowing a bit of the journey. So I would,
Knowing how much went into this little bite right here.
yeah. So I'd say first is Instagram, and that's Yo's Froyo Bites. At Yo's Froyo Bites. YOSFROYOBITES. Yo's Froyo Bites. And then if you like what you see from there, there's a link for our website, also www.yosfroyobites.com.
Just following your journey has been so exciting. I'm so glad, our mutual friend Chelsea introduced us, and I'm so glad she did because really, really excited about everything that you're
Yeah.
doing.
And I am a new fan of yours. I watch your content, and you are amazing at what you do. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to Nothing Small About Business. Make sure you follow this show so you don't miss the value in upcoming episodes. Share this with someone who's growing, and connect on socials for more.